People talk about night shifts like they're just inconvenient hours. Too much coffee, too little sleep, and endless boredom. That's what I thought before I started working nights. I believed silence was harmless. That darkness was empty. But night shifts don't just change your sleep schedule. They change how the world feels. Buildings sound different. Familiar places feel wrong. And when you're awake while everyone else is asleep, you start realizing something unsettling. You're not always alone, even when you should be. Over the years, I worked multiple night shift jobs. Different places, different roles, different cities. I told myself every strange thing had a rational explanation. Fatigue, stress, overactive imagination. But 4 experiences broke that belief completely. These are the stories I don't talk about. These are the stories that made me quit working nights forever. The factory had been abandoned for over a decade, but security was still required. Insurance reasons, they said. My job was to patrol the building once every hour and log anything unusual. The place was massive. Endless hallways, rusted machines, and ceilings so high my flashlight barely touched them. During the day it felt empty. At night it felt occupied. On my 3rd week something changed. During my 3 a.m. round, I noticed fresh footprints on the dust-covered floor. They weren't mine. They led toward the old assembly wing, an area sealed off after an accident years earlier. I reported it. Management told me animals sometimes got inside. I followed the prints anyway. The deeper I went, the colder the air became. My flashlight flickered as I reached the end of the corridor. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, careful, matching my pace exactly. When I stopped, they stopped. I turned around. Nothing. Then the loudspeaker crackled to life. "Finish your round." The voice was calm. Familiar. It was my voice. The speaker repeated it again, perfectly mimicking my tone. I ran back to the control room, heart pounding, and locked the door behind me. At exactly 4 a.m., the system logged my final patrol. I never made that entry. Security records show I completed my last round perfectly, even though I never left the room again. Working night reception at a private hospital meant long stretches of silence. The only sounds were distant machines and the occasional echo of footsteps that never seemed to belong to anyone. Room 417 was always empty. It wasn't closed officially, but no patients were ever assigned to it. Nurses avoided the floor during night hours. At 2:17 a.m., the call light for room 417 turned on. I assumed it was a system error. Then it turned on again. Against my better judgment, I went upstairs. The hallway lights dimmed as I approached the room. The door was slightly open. Inside, the bed was occupied. A man lay there, pale, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. I asked for his name. He slowly turned his head toward me and whispered, "I checked out already." The heart monitor beside the bed was flatlined. The lights shut off. When they came back on, the bed was empty. The room smelled faintly of disinfectant and something else. Something old. Records showed a patient had died in that room years ago. Time of death: 2:17 a.m. The call light still turns on some nights. No one answers it anymore. My night shift at a remote highway assistance station was supposed to be uneventful. I monitored emergency radio channels for stranded drivers. At 1:40 a.m., a man called in, whispering. He said his car had broken down on a road that didn't exist on any map. He said something had been standing in the trees, watching him. I asked him to describe it. He went silent. Then I heard my own voice respond through the radio, asking the same questions I had just asked. I hadn't said a word. The man screamed and begged me to stop copying him. I slammed the radio off. The call log shows I stayed connected for 6 more minutes. Sometimes when the signal is bad, I hear my voice repeating that man's screams through the static. My final night shift job was monitoring cameras at a residential complex. Just screens, a chair, and silence. At 3:33 a.m., one camera glitched. Showed me. Sitting in the control room. I was visible on the screen, staring directly into the camera, smiling. The real me wasn't smiling. On the screen I stood up, walked toward the door and turned off the lights. In real life the lights shut off too. Every camera went dark. When power returned, the footage was gone. But my access log showed I had left the building at 3:34 a.m. I was still inside. I quit that night. People say night shifts are peaceful, quiet, easy money. They're wrong. Night shifts strip away the noise that hides things. They leave you exposed, to places, to memories, and to things that learn your routines faster than you realize. I don't work nights anymore. I don't sit in empty rooms. And I don't trust silence. Because once something notices you during the night shift, never forgets you were there.